Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Adventures in Asheville show, featuring Steve and Karen Wilson, owners and innkeepers of the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast. Hey, everybody. You know, every first Tuesday we do our Adventures in Asheville podcast with Steve and Karen Wilson, the owners of the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, also known as Mr. and Mrs. Wild. And today we have an awesome, epic show talking about beer. October is North Carolina Beer Month, right? So we have this amazing show with Cliff, Cliff is awesome. Cliff Morey. He is the owner of, he's a Cicerone. Let me just go there first. Cicerone. Mm-hmm. Did we know about being a Cicerone? Yes. That means he's like the sommelier of wine, but he's the sommelier of beer. And he is the owner of an amazing company that you're going to want to know of that takes you on tours around Asheville, downtown. Right now, we recorded this interview with Steve and Karen and Cliff talking about how to explore Beer City, USA with Cliff, and also talking about beer events. We talked about all kinds of things and got a good education on beer and the history of beer in North Carolina and the history of beer in Asheville. We did this literally as the Hurricane Helene was hitting Florida, which is where Nancy and I are right now. What we didn't know was that Steve and Karen and Cliff and everyone in Asheville and the mountains surrounding were going to be severely impacted, as well as parts of Georgia, South Carolina, East Tennessee, Virginia even. So many people, Florida, the Big Bend of Florida, really impacted. So many places in the Southeast have been devastated. Some of you may see it on the news, but I'm going to tell you the way our news is now, I don't know how many people are watching regular news channels to get the news. I've been talking to people who did not know that Asheville was completely flooded. And still is, and at this point, waiting for 3 to 4 weeks to have water. Millions of people across the South, not millions, thousands. I got to get real on this. Thousands are impacted of not having cell service, not having signals, and not having electricity to this point. So those of you that are in the area or know people in the area are still probably struggling like we have. This morning, I woke up to find out that 2 of our dear friends are alive and fine. It's the best news you have on the outside. But there is going to be a long road of recovery that we all need to be a part of. And right now, before we get to the programming we always do every first Tuesday, which we want to air, you know why? Because Asheville frigging rocks. I watch my language there. It does. It rocks. And the people in Asheville rock. And there's something to still come back for. And we want you to come back. You need to support the businesses there, the arts, the musicians, the tourism places. They need you now more than ever. Not immediately right now, because you can't get there today. But as it happens, you want to go. You want, as soon as roads open and things start to clean up, please be part of that. If you can, make reservations at a restaurant or buy a gift certificate online. Same thing for a hotel, a bed and breakfast. Any place that you can support will really support those small businesses immediately and now. Red Cross, there are so many ways to give. The Humane Societies have ways for you to give all across these 6 states that really need the help. So all those links are in the episode notes. Please look at them. Please do what you can. And we're going to also do a music benefit concert online to create awareness and honestly, just to have some fun, because it's not fun with what's happening and we need to have a good time. Definitely the people still stranded. It's like Asheville is an island right now. People in Tennessee dealing with dams breaking, being helicoptered off of the top of a hospital. Seriously, so much has been going on. If you have not seen the news, I implore you to look it up. Use hashtag Helene and start looking what's going on in our country. Go beyond the typical 5 seconds news flash that you get. Hashtag Helene. Use social media at this point. You will see countless things that are happening. And it's very hard to get in touch with loved ones. So if you're trying to get in touch with people, try texting. It's about the only way you're going to get through. And they may be flooded with everybody in their inbox. So please don't stress. Like I said this morning, finally found out from 2 friends that we were really scared about because they were up in the mountains in the Pisgah National Forest, but they are alive and fine. There are right now, as we are talking right now, the body count of death is over 100. There are places, towns, small towns that are completely devastated. One of them, Chimney Rock, which is just so devastating. Boone, North Carolina. It's incredibly devastating. There are so many places. East Tennessee, our hearts, everyone, Florida, my gosh. We are all with you. We love you and care about you. We may not know you individually, but we give a royal damn. We do. And I'm not talking about the dams that broke. We care. We all care. So we can do something. Please look at the links in the episode notes. I implore you to do that. Do what you can. And if you can, buy the gift certificates directly from small businesses to help them. Even if they close, look at it. That money is like, hey, I know it went to a family, period. So now I'm very excited because we actually have Steve and Karen Wilson on the line to give us an update, which is a freaking miracle. So Karen, how are you?
We're hanging in there. We're safe and, healthy and all that. So we're good. But communications are very tough, as you said. It comes and goes, and the community is doing really great pulling together. Emergency services have been here. Cleanup has been underway for days. It's going to take time, but we're getting there. We're working at doing everything we can. Same thing. Our hearts go out to everybody that's affected by this. We feel lucky.
Yeah. And everything that's going on the inn. Can you tell everybody about you're in the Montfort Historic District? And this is a district that is home to over 600 historic homes. Very unique place to visit. You've got, also the historic cemetery a few blocks above you. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but you can walk there from the inn, basically, where Thomas Wolfe is buried, O. Henry is buried, the writers, very historic cemetery. You've got downtown shops, and I know you've been walking to the visitor center, the Asheville Visitor Center, to be able to even make calls or text people. And so connectivity has been rough. Yeah.
Absolutely. We are one of the lucky ones that got our power back. There's still a lot of people without power. We're still not without water. Depending on the area, they're saying anywhere from a week to 3 weeks that we're hearing. As far as road closures, I know they're working on that. We heard today that the I-40 West is open one lane, and the I-40 East, the Army Corps of Engineers is working on getting that open today. So progress is being made, but please bear with everybody and be patient.
Oh, I love that. It's so important to talk about patience. As travelers, understand this. I mean, I've been in conversations since day one of this, and the conversation span of people not knowing to people who think that, oh, we can contact you all in WhatsApp. And I'm like, no, you can't. We need to understand what our infrastructure is. So as, people in this right now, can you explain to people how the infrastructure works? It just doesn't work when it doesn't work, right? I mean, we were frightened with you guys for days. We were like, am I going to have to swim channels to get to you? I will.
I know. And we tried the best we could to get communication, and it took a couple of days before we could get anything out. Everything was it's like nothing I've ever seen or experienced. All the trees down. We were kind of trapped in. There were trees down all around us, trees against the house that are now being removed, luckily. But in downtown's one area that when we walk down there, it actually looks normal. That's surprising. Like you can see where the water came up, and debris from trees and leaves, but I was surprised to see that downtown has fared very well compared to a lot of other areas that are really, really sad.
The River Arts District, we've done shows on that. That is, I think, one of
Yeah,
the stories, Chimney Rock and the River Arts District for Asheville. Um,
yeah,
it's depressing, but I believe Ashevilleans are badasses. I do. I don't think
right,
people, I've watched on social media as people are posting, they're saying, we're closed until we get back. And like, we're coming
right.
back and we're coming back. And
Exactly.
I
Right.
feel like, do you feel a sense of community right now that you're not on an island? You may be on
Absolutely.
an island from the rest of the world for a little while, but are you
Right.
feeling
Right.
locally a community and even online?
Yes, absolutely. That's we've seen the community come together. The communications, like I said, have been difficult, but it's also been confusing hearing different things. So we're all trying to share with each other. People are sharing power for people to charge their items if they need to. There's restaurants now that are giving out food if they can. People are coming from South Carolina and other parts to bring us fresh drinking water. So everybody, even from outside our community, has connected with us and trying to do what they can.
Mm. Now, what about your guests? Because I know you have people staying, and this is something I really want to get people to understand. Asheville, I know Biltmore Village was flooded too. I don't know about the mansion
Hmm.
itself. Do you know? Is the
Yeah, I
mansion
don't
okay?
have an update. I don't
Yeah.
have an update on that. I really don't know. I know Biltmore Village got hit very hard. I know everything I know from water has been receding from the rivers in all directions, so that's a pretty good thing.
Mm.
If the rain does
Well,
not come back, that'll be better. It will get better and better each year.
I think that it did have some, I'm trying to Google, it's really hard, like to find out everything. And especially if you're in the zone
It is.
of the devastation, you only have so much
Mm-hmm.
signal and so much time and so much bandwidth and so much data. And, you know,
Right.
I'm going to have to give a shout out to Elon Musk that I didn't think I would want to, but apparently he really did good for you all, putting up some starlight, but it does look like the mansion is not really happy. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, it's,
I'm
I
sure
think,
once they have an update, we will have that information because they're good
yeah,
at
exactly.
giving us
But,
updates.
but
So we will
this is
know that as it comes along.
and the thing is to still support, right? And October, that
Right.
was what I was getting to. October is such an important month,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It is.
So let's talk about
Mm-hmm.
that. October is one of the prime times that people visit Asheville because of the fall colors, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
I just want to say, like, um, it is a time to visit. It's a time, and the fall colors are happening and all of that. So people come. So everybody in the
Mm-hmm.
tourism entity, uh, this is not this is the hardest for you to lose
It is.
the financial impact, right? Is what I'm trying to get to
Mm-hmm.
for everybody.
It's yeah. Mm-hmm. It's the biggest for all of us, especially Asheville is so small business oriented. Majority of the businesses that make up the city are all independently owned, small family, and that's what makes this area so different and unique. A lot of people are drawn to that.
Mm. And I want to tell everybody regarding the Biltmore, if you just go to biltmore.com, they're updating everybody every day on what they can do. They are assessing damage, but so go and look at that website before you go or try to go, which quite frankly, I don't think anyone can really get to Asheville right now. And you shouldn't try and do it right now. Let the
Right.
important services go in first. Towards the
Absolutely.
end of the month, mid-month, maybe things will get better. But as I've heard,
Mm-hmm.
was it 3 to 4 weeks for water? So just watch
Yeah, we've
social
been told
media.
a couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple of
Yep.
weeks. Everything's different.
Exactly,
See,
because it keeps changing. It keeps changing. So
and it's
definitely
going
just keep
to.
updated on social. Will.
Yeah. social media
Yeah.
is the place to go. So the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Those are the two places they're most active. I'm just saying because I know I follow you, but you guys are doing what you can, and we will also post on Big Blend on our social media accounts.
Yes.
We're going to do this concert high noon on Monday and bring musicians together with just music videos for you to watch. So it's kind of a virtual concert. It's really just, we all want to feel good. Well, that's really it.
Right.
And also pay attention
Positivity.
to where you can, donate, how you can help. We're looking at doing a book drive. We don't know quite how it's going to work because of mail and delivery, and maybe it'll just be online. We don't know. We're working on that. We have several authors wanting to give books to people in the Southeast that need books, because if you're sitting there, you want a literary escape. You want a music escape. And it looks like the internet and the electricity is coming on before water. So you need something.
Yes.
So we're trying to do that.
By Friday.
Oh, I hope so.
Electricity is supposed to be by Friday. That's the latest estimate, was that majority of customers will have it by Friday. And we continue to see more and more, even from outside area. They are working very hard, and we are grateful and appreciative of all these people that are doing all this great work.
And your guests have been good, because I know you've had guests booked, so they're being good and being kind and understanding, right? Can you tell people about that, a bit about how wonderful I think B&B guests are great, aren't they? They understand.
They are absolutely. They're wonderful, most kind-hearted. The outreach we had from people just checking on our safety to see how we were and remind us that they're thinking about us, sending great thoughts, best wishes, and prayers, and how they had a great time. They're just sending positivity, and right now that's what we all need, just to keep moving forward, and we'll get through this all together.
And also understand that Steve and Karen they do not have the availability to access an email or message individually right now as well, because everything is limited. So please understand that and have some patience, right?
Yeah,
so
please be patient.
Understand that.
Yes.
Yeah, please. They are going to
We will get to everyone. We will get to everyone right now. And there's just so much going on.
There is so much. I mean, you understand their bed and breakfast is also their home, and they're going to take care of the B&B so that you can come back. And understand that it's not just for them what we're talking about. It's for all small businesses in Asheville are dealing the same. Some are going to probably close indefinitely, but some will renew and some will come back. I mean, this is a historic flood that happened over 1,000 years ago too, so it's climate change. It's this, it's that, but it is what it is. Whatever we want to call it, it is what it is. And us humans on this planet can help. I want to go to Steve.
Absolutely.
Can we talk to Steve, the brewmaster? Because it is officially Sausage Day and Beer Month. I'm just saying we have to talk about sausage. So can you put us through to Steve? It is Sausage Day. Are you able to cook sausage today? No, you need sausage.
I could if I wanted to.
You know what? Nance and I even abstained from sausage because we just felt like, we can do it. It just feels weird. We have to be in unison for Sausage Day. And everyone, we still will put the links in the episode notes for Sausage Day podcasts that we've done over the years. Because October 1st is Sausage Day. It's also the start of, beer month in North Carolina. But Steve, I hear that you've been giving beer out to people giving you water. Is that true?
We did yesterday. Actually, there's a couple of guys from, I think one of the fellows was from South Carolina, and he had water down. So him and his buddy had a big, I'm not sure how many gallon tank it was, but they filled the tank full of water, came up in the neighborhood. And we saw them, and we just we started talking to them a little bit, and we told them, we'll be right back. We'll get a couple of jugs and get some water from you. And we went back here and said we should get them some beer too. So we grabbed a couple growlers, filled one half full with beer, and brought a couple solo cups, gave the guys some beers, and got us some water after we emptied the growlers. And they were happy for the beers, that's for sure. And they said, come back tomorrow and bring some more.
I love it. So what do you have on tap right now? Like for them, like were you giving them the weed or, the wheat, not weed.
We gave
They're
them,
not weed.
yeah, we gave them, we gave them the wheat beer. But we also have IPA on tap as well. We were old beer right now because they don't have electricity.
Oh, it's done now. Oh,
Yeah.
I know the electricity thing is rough. How is the grounds
Yeah.
right now for you guys in that? I mean, the beer is part of the stay, as you hear in the next portion of the original interviews that we did for today's programming, which is all about beer with Cicerone Cliff. It's amazing. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, we haven't heard from him yet. We got to find out, see if maybe we can get a hold of him, see what's going on with him.
Yeah,
some of our other friends in town, we've been able to get. So most everybody we've talked to is doing okay.
Okay, that's important. That's important. And he's like, and I mean, he is the man of beer. I love that interview. It's one of our favorites of the shows that we've done over the years with you guys. And I just was like, I want to drink more IPA than I ever knew I wanted to drink. But it's so everybody enjoy the next episode and understand this will be back again. People will come back again because, like I said, Ashevilleans are badasses. I'm allowed to say that on the show. I am. I don't care. Sorry if you don't like my language. I'm. It's a time where you are allowed to use it. But Steve, how is the property so people understand about the inn? You guys have gone through some damage, right? And do you see it coming back quick enough to get guests to be able to come back as roads open?
We're pretty fortunate with that. We had some trees do a domino effect off some guys that were driving past the neighborhood looking for tree damage, so tree service, and they came by and stopped and asked me about it and told me how it all works and everything with the insurance and all that. And I said, that sounds great. Next thing I know, all the rest of their guys are here and they're cutting the trees off the house. We had another tree off the side in the front. It snapped into the street, actually blocked the road for a couple of days. But we've been, for the most part, in one of our rooms, we suffered some ceiling damage where we had some leaking. So I got to get that room ready itself. But all the other rooms are ready to go for the most part once we get water.
Okay, awesome. So what is the damage like? Because it looked like a mini tornado in a way that happened. I've seen that domino effect with trees. Do you think that's what happened in your yard?
It could have been. I know some of the gusts are up to 72 miles an hour. I know one of the guys I was talking to just a little while ago, one of the guys who works for this tree company, he said that it looked like a tornado might have touched down in Biltmore Village because there's some power poles that just completely snapped or twisted. There's a neighborhood where definitely a tornado went through, I guess, up there where just...
Okay, we're losing Steve again. Hold on. You back?
Nope.
Oh,
yeah,
you're back. Okay. Yeah. So once we did the initial recording that everyone you get to hear next, right? I was watching what was going on in Florida, obviously, because that's where we are, and they were talking about tornadoes being part of this hurricane. And that's why I think it got so hard. I mean, I'm not a weather person, but I live watching it because we travel so much. And they were talking, the one weather person, I follow certain people, not always on the big networks, actually. There's some rogue weather people out there that seem to know more.
Yeah.
Anyway, just saying. And they were talking about these tornadoes happening where people couldn't see them because of the gray in the skies. You couldn't see a tornado coming. You couldn't see, you had no idea because it's all gray sky because of the rain, the amount of rain. But that was also fueling this. And we had no dry air. And that's what made this happen, spin off, was that we didn't have any dry air where it normally would have dry air to calm it down. Normally, the hurricane would have happened exactly where it did in Florida and then been a big rainstorm. And it got a little worse. That's because we had no dry air. And they were talking about this, and it's interesting, and how the tornadoes, and I'm wondering how much destruction really came from tornadoes versus hurricane, because these lines of trees going down, these lines of, we've been through hurricanes and tornadoes, Nancy and I, and it's always this direct line with a tornado. I don't know. I'm no expert on this, only been through it. All I can say is I've watched it happen, and it's insane. It is a domino effect that is powerful as hell, and you want to get as far away from it as possible. And when I looked at your trees, I went, tornado. I don't know. I have no clue, but it looked like it.
I don't know.
But they're not in the house though, so that part is a good thing, right? Like.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, they didn't fall hard enough to do it. I don't know yet because I haven't been out there to see what it looks like underneath the trees. It looks like they got most of the trees down now. They're just getting ready to start chopping over to clean them out of the yard. But it looks like it could be possible because up the street from us, it looks like there's just tree after trees that are falling on houses and in the street. And it might have been a line that's going up that way along the. They went through our yard and on up. So. I mean, it's very possible, and because some of these trees are gigantic and they're just uprooted or snapped.
And they don't have a huge root system, these big trees. They have a linear, not a deep taproot to hold them, right? Like sequoias.
Right, yeah. That's what it looks like from what I've seen in the neighborhood so far. When we've walked around, we were checking out some of the area, walking down to Whole Foods because they were at the time giving away a free case of water, and we thought, well, we should just do that. And they'd run out, but we had talked to another guy who told us where some water was. So we're getting a lot of information from word of mouth around here on what's going on. So,
it looks like people are all working together to find water and do things like, remember COVID where everybody was fighting over water and toilet paper? It seems like Asheville's a little bit opposite to that. They're helping each other have water. Is that
for the most part?
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. We want you to have clean water. I'd bring you water if I could get there, but I can't because apparently I can't,
Yeah. Well, some people are actually going down the creek down here and they're filling up buckets for their toilets out of the creek.
Wow. Well, why not? Right? I mean,
why not? Yeah. You probably shouldn't drink it, but, or even if you boil it, but you can use it for your toilets.
Yeah, I know you guys are on a boil notice because you don't have water, but they're saying if you do a hard boil for 1 minute, solid minute plus, right?
Oh, okay.
That it's drinkable.
You're right. Yeah.
That's what I've seen notices on. Don't quote me. Start doing online research if you can. But that's what I've seen and read from like city of Asheville, excuse me, not Austin. Asheville is, that's how you do it. You boil your water for 1 minute, hard boil, not little bubbles. Boil the crap out of it, literally. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
We're so spotty though. With all our information is mostly come word of mouth because our cell signal is getting better by the day. But I understand they're putting like little satellites out in places to try to get more cell signals. But for the most part, we're still kind of not literally, but figuratively in the dark. So what we're finding out is just from other people, like, so these work guys are finding out a lot because they're going all over the place.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah,
and now, you guys losing electricity, I want to, again, do a shout out. People, please look at doing gift cards. Okay. Online, go get gift certificates. Like the line in the Rose Bed and Breakfast, go online, purchase gift certificates for the future, the near future, not like a year away, or unless you want to, right? But that helps. Guests that are already booked in, please just move your date. These are people that are really also running a small business, keeping their home going, keeping you happy, keeping the tourism and economy of Asheville going. So even just restaurants, everything, just do gift certificates. If you want to hit an impact directly, the Red Cross is also really good to donate to. I've got all the links in the episode notes of where you can look at who to donate to where. But honestly, if you want to help the businesses directly, go to their website and go do a gift certificate or, a gift card. Do that. And also, when it comes to donations, We're going to do a music concert and a book drive in some way, which is probably going to be online because it is more effective that way. But honestly, don't, I hate to say this, and I said this on the last show on Sunday with our Joey Stuckey Live Day. I've been through it. Nancy and I have been through wildfires. We've been on the other side, and we've been the person, going and getting the donated items. People that are going through something really traumatic like this, they do not need your leftover underwear. They don't want it. It's embarrassing and it's horrible. And I can tell you horror stories of what we went through in wildfires. Evacuated 7 times in a year and a half with real wildfires threatening our lives and our homes and our animals and our community. I'm going to tell you now, if you want to give directly, do it in cash. Cash is king. Always. Cash. Gift cards to a store like Walmart, Target, all those kinds of things. Do those. Please do not give your old clothes, the old dishes. You can do those to the thrift stores and the places that know how to go and do that later. Right? That's the last part. The first part is people want to feel human. And they also want some respect, not old underwear. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart because we've been there. Please don't give your old underwear to people in need. Thank you. Amen. PSA from Lisa. Yeah. Everyone, lion-rose.com is the website. We're going to go into our new next phase of programming that we recorded right as the hurricane was hitting. We're going to talk beer and hear about everything you can enjoy in Asheville. And we want you to go back and enjoy Asheville. Right, Steve?
Yep. Don't rush out here right now. Wait and, keep your eye on the news and see what's going on out here and, listen to Lisa and Nancy. They'll keep you updated.
Oh my God, don't do that. Holy crap. What did you just say? No, but honestly, we will post everything we can on social media and on shows. I mean, I'm sorry, but every person coming on podcast now has to understand we'll be doing a PSA, like honestly. Yeah. Right? It's true. It's true. Can we talk to Karen before you go? But thank you. And it's always good to talk with you, Steve. And damn, I want some beer. I want some Dirty Godiva beer right now. Thank you.
There you go. That'll be next on the list.
All right. That is an emergency thing. We want the Dirty Godiva beer. Karen, for everybody listening, can you tell everybody about what is the best thing? I'm doing my PSAs and I just go into a rant. And I need to calm down and not do that. But can you tell everybody what is most important for you and Steve in the end as individuals, like as humans living through this, which, as you said, is like an apocalypse? What is the most support people can do? And then as a small business owner, what they can do?
Well, it's the same thing. I suggest everybody work together as a community and do whatever they can for their neighbors and their friends and their family and just make sure everybody's safe and has the essential things they need. We have time on our hands, so that's exactly why I wanted to reach out and talk about this music thing to just try to help those less fortunate and just get word out about really what's going on and how tragic this is for so many people. And all do our part to do whatever we can to help people in need, help small businesses recover from this and be able to survive. Every little bit helps. People think just a little bit might not, but you might be that one that just puts it over the top for a family, a business, just anything you can do, put a smile on somebody's face. That's what we all need right now is positivity.
And care. And we're going to do this online music concert that's going to happen high noon Eastern time, right, on Monday. And that is October 7th, I believe. Gosh, I don't know. We're putting it together as we literally talk. We're putting this together. We've got musicians who want to be part of it. And this will be October 7th. So at noon Eastern time, you can go to bigblendradio.com. On YouTube, it's youtube.com/Big Blend Radio. And that's where you really want to go. Because we'll have the musicians and people talking in between, telling you what they're giving, what they want. They're going to connect with you, talk about their music, their songs. I know we're going to have authors be part of this, and we're going to have so many people be part of it. And we're really at the very beginning of creating this, and it's already crazy. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be a cool event, and it's mostly important just for morale, for everybody to know we care. And for everybody on the inside, as they start getting power and internet, to know that we care. We know big name musicians and everyone are going to do it. They're going to do these amazing campaigns and things later. It's all going to happen, and probably it could even be quicker than ours. Good. We want that. But we're going to do what we can do. And that's important.
Absolutely.
You do what you can do. I have authors go, well, I can give books. I can do this. Exactly. What do you have in your wheelhouse that you can do to be part of the community to fix a huge portion of American people that are hurting right now? Yeah. What can you do? No matter where you are in the world, what can you do? What's in your wheelhouse? You don't have to overstretch yourself. You can do what you can do that you do every day. Think about it. What can you do? If it's $5 for Red Cross, hell yes, do it. You'll feel better. You will feel better. So do it. Help. Do what we can. If you can impact the business directly, gosh, I'm telling you, sometimes that's also very good and very important. Go on their website and purchase what you can online, even if you don't get it. Just do it for the hell of it. How many Amazon deliveries do you get to your door that you don't even open? Huh? Just saying. Just saying. Yeah. I'm trying not to be a ranter, but I'm just saying we can all do our part. We can. Right. And together, why don't we, we have all these political divides going on. Why don't we look at Hurricane Helene as a way to unite? And actually be citizens, neighbors, community. Why don't we look at that right now? It's more important than politics, right? So that's all I'm saying. Absolutely. Everyone, go to lion-rose.com. Follow them on social media. They put updates when they can, and we certainly will on Big Blend on all of our social medias. Thank you, Steve and Karen. Thank you so much. We love you guys. Thank you. I'm so glad you are alive. We love you too. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. It is October 1st, and this is a very exciting thing because October is North Carolina Beer Month. And as you all know from last year and the year before, October 1st is National Sausage Day. Can I have a chorus here? Sausage Day. Sausage Day. Everybody loves Sausage Day. So please look in the episode notes, whether you're listening on Facebook or YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all those places, Podbean. I'm putting a link to our Sausage Day party we did one year. I think, how many was it? 3 to 6 hours of sausage fueled conversations and recipes. Beer is part of sausage life. And of course, Steve and Karen are here from the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast out in the Montford Historic District in Asheville. So welcome back, Karen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Are you ready for fall, y'all? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I suppose so. We're ready for the leaves are starting to change very slightly, but there's a lot of exciting things coming up in October. So yeah, we're ready.
Are you counting the days now? Like all the way for Halloween? Yeah.
No, not counting the days. Not ready for that. We got Porch Fest before that, so we're waiting on that first.
Oh. Listen, I want to tell you, I've got a new treat that I found out in Georgia. And I think other people do it, but Nancy and I didn't know. And then once we found out, it's something I can't get past. Corn candy, or do you say candy corn here? Corn candy? Candy corn? Corn candy?
Candy corn.
Candy corn. Candy corn. And salted peanuts mixed together. Have you had that?
Does that count as the grossness of the candy corn?
It is. It tastes like a payday bar. So I would like to hear about beer pairing suggestions by the end of this show. So we've got Steve here from the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, Mr. Wild. You know, Karen and Steve are Mr. and Mrs. Wild. Steve, what is on tap? Welcome back. What's on tap? We're doing good, aren't we, today?
Yeah. We always have the wheat beer on tap, the Belgian wheat, and then we also have a session IPA, Citra session IPA out there. So that's going over real well. I really like that one. So,
cool.
But yeah.
That's everyone. When you check into the Lion and the Rose, you get a pint of beer. But if you stay a little bit longer, you get your own mini keg in your suite. Like, I think that is a sweet, right? Like, it is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is cool. Well, I don't think I've had that IPA from you before.
No,
we just made it this year.
No,
and we
this
made
is
it,
new one.
I think right after you left.
Man.
Last time you were here.
Wow. And I enjoyed those Stone Brewing ones, by the way. I can't believe it. We opened our business on the same day, Stone Brewing in San Diego. Big Blend started then.
Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. And 97 went to their opening in an industrial park in San Marcos and went, because they launched, I think one of their first beers was Arrogant Bastard. And I went, this sounds like our kind of, this sounds good to me. And, but I didn't, you gifted me those beers the other day on our way out of town. And, I was like, wow, this is cool, man. This is super cool. So that was really good. But a good IPA is cool. When does the Dirty Godiva come out?
I got to get to work on that one. I've been pretty busy lately, but I hope to get it started sometime this week.
Good, because we're coming back to Asheville, so we need our Dirty Godiva. So that's a big deal. So everyone, lion-rose.com. We have a special guest joining us on the show. Steve and Karen always bring these amazing guests on the show and we find out about all these hidden treasures and tours and experiences and events and activities that you can enjoy in Asheville. And today we have Cliff Morey joining us. He owns, oh my gosh, this whole brewery tour that you can take, right? Like, this is so cool, especially if you want to learn more about the breweries you go to. It's called Brew Ed Brewery Tour. So you get a little education. So you do know how to put your nose in the glass without getting foam on it, right? Cliff, welcome to the show. How are you?
No drowning. That's the biggest thing. Don't drown.
Well, sometimes you can get your own mustache if you want,
I came with one to begin with, but then a beer one.
That was smart. Great. That was smart. That was smart. You're already ahead. Well, I'm super excited about this. So Asheville is Beer City, USA, right? So when we talk about North Carolina being, having its own beer month, you've got to go to Asheville. How did Asheville become such a big brew hub?
Yeah, so Asheville, it's this combination of like some logistical and cultural things at work. And so as craft beer was growing around the country, a lot of the states in the South had really restrictive laws. There were all sorts of things in place that limited small breweries from being able to exist legally. And so North Carolina was kind of ahead of the game. And way back in the mid 1980s, they allowed small breweries to exist and to sell their product directly to their customers at their tasting room. So this meant that breweries could start small, sell to their people in the neighborhood and grow, as they could. So that was kind of a statewide thing. And then here in Asheville was really brought back after a long kind of hibernation period after the Great Depression as this area for art and food. And beer is kind of somewhere in between, right? It's kind of art, it's kind of food.
Yeah.
And so the same people who are traveling to the area for that experience, were also the same people who'd be interested in trying something that was a little different. If you were coming to the area to eat at a great restaurant or visit an art gallery, you probably wouldn't be the same person who'd sit down at dinner and think, you know what, let me get a Bud Light. Because that's what I get back home. Instead there's there's this new stuff that I haven't seen before. And so kind of one thing led to another. Highland Brewing started way back in 1994. They're our oldest locally owned brewery. And then by the early 2000s, it was just kind of this it's 6 months to a year, it seemed like for a while, a new brewery was popping up.
How did Sierra Nevada get there? Because, I remember them in California. And I used to drink quite a bit of that, actually. And I'm like, what are you doing in North Carolina? How did that happen?
Yeah. So Sierra Nevada, they started back in 1980, as you said, in Northern California. And they were one of the first breweries to really have like a nationwide footprint. But beer is heavy to ship. And it's also best consumed fresh. And so they were at the point where they're schlepping this beer all the way from Northern California to all these markets on the East Coast, and they needed another facility. And so again, Asheville by that point was just known for this, a lot of the same values that Sierra Nevada held, kind of independent business owners, creativity, artists, mountains, nature. And it was just a great cultural fit for them. And even before they came to the area, they met with a lot of the local breweries, just to make sure like, hey, if we move in, just, we're not here to put you out of business. We really want to be a member of the community. And they've been nothing but a great member.
And Fat Tire, is that the same thing? Because I remember them coming on our podcast, I'm going to say over a decade ago, like
That's
beyond that. It was about
that's New Belgium.
They had in Belgium, they had a bicycle rally thing that was going on, and they were doing it for nonprofits, and it was a really cool event. And so I believe they're out of Fort Collins, I think, Colorado, originally. Right.
Exactly
and then,
right.
So is it a second location, just the same kind of thing as Sierra Nevada?
Same idea, again, it just makes more sense to, at some point, open up another facility because you're at, of course, a few years ago, everything was still in glass bottles, and, cans are a little bit lighter to ship, but, they were putting liquid into heavy glass bottles and driving it all over the place. And, the shipping costs add up.
And you do not want an accident with that. What a waste.
What a waste.
I know. Yeah, no. But they're a cool company. I mean, I think I remember going with you, Stephen, Karen, and going in to tip the bartenders or the beer tenders, and they're like, no, put it in here. It goes to nonprofits. And I'm like, that is so cool. A whole different model, right? And so it makes you think a little bit differently as business owners of what we can do as small business owners. That is super cool. How many breweries do we have in Asheville? Because I know you got started in 2013, so you're 11 years old. Happy
11.
birthday!
That's so crazy. Yeah.
Hey, and happy anniversary to Steve and Karen. How many years now for the inn?
6. We've been here 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Time flies.
Wow.
It does.
Have more beer.
It does.
We need more beer. Hey, can we get beer and cake ever? Does any of that ever work? Beer and cake?
Beer in cake or beer and
cake?
Yeah. So do you have two hands? You put beer in one, cake in the other. There you go.
Okay.
I agree with that.
All right. So I'm voting for carrot
you
cake.
Got this.
I want carrot cake with beer. For some reason, that's what's calling
carrot cake. This is going to sound crazy. Carrot cake actually pairs exceptionally well with double IPAs.
Oh.
A higher alcohol hoppy beer with a little bit of sweetness. Carrot cake and a double IPA. It's one of those crazy, better than the sum of its pairings. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What about sausage? Because it's sausage day.
It is, right? And sausage, like beer, can mean so many different things, right? The range of sausage flavors.
Like chorizo. Yeah.
Right. A chorizo is way different from a hot dog. It's different from a kielbasa. It's different from an Italian sausage. And the good news is there's a beer that goes with all of them, and the thing about any beer and food pairing is really just, keeping an eye on the intensity of the flavors. So you've got a strong enough beer to match with a strongly flavored sausage, or a light flavored beer to match the lighter flavored sausage. And then playing with some of the notes in there. Do you want to balance out the sweetness? Do you want to enhance the roastiness? All sorts of things like that. So there's a ton of great combinations there as well. Don't play with your sausage. I had to say that, sorry. But you can play with the flavors, right? When you do your tours, because are you going according to what, your guests want to go to? Are you curating them accordingly, or do you have ones that are set up? Because I know you have private ones and then you have tours, regular tours on your site. Everyone go to brew-ed.com. Links are in the episode notes as always. When you're tell us a bit about the tours, but also does food come into the conversation? Yeah. So our public tours all have a set itinerary that'll be viewable on the website. You'll know where to meet, what breweries you're going to visit. And it's a set itinerary with the goal of really kind of getting people out of their comfort zones. As far as the beers that we choose, the stories that we tell, we all have the habit of, if you like an IPA, you walk into the brewery, you look at the board and say, I'll have your IPA. And so on our tours, we really challenge people to get out of that, and introduce, kind of some classic styles, great examples, of locally made beer, showing off a huge realm of flavor that people might not normally gravitate toward on their own. And of course, you get behind the scenes into the brewery area, show them how it's made, all the science behind the beer. And then private tours are a great way for people to kind of customize that. So instead of joining a public tour, as long as you've got 6 people or more in a group, reach out to us and we'll put together something private for you. And then you can choose the breweries. You can choose, we only really want to drink IPAs. Give us the best IPAs in Asheville. And that's all we want to drink for 3 hours,
Okay.
And we can do that for you as well.
You've riled up the dogs. Who let the dogs out? They heard sausage
I know.
and they're all excited.
They're a little excited about beer.
Well, Asheville is a dog community. I mean, it really is dog friendly. And I think you can take dogs to breweries, right, Steve and Karen? I mean, you guys take Ozzy and little Lita to breweries all the time. And some of them actually, which is the one, Karen, where it's a fundraiser that you do with the photos and everything at one of the breweries, I think it is, where they end up on like the label. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, that's Dissolver. Yes, Dissolver.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So that's a nice thing to do. And so going back to these tours, Cliff, so you're about Brewed. I love the name. You talk about being your Western North Carolina's first certified Cicerone. And I was. Yeah. So
wow,
now tell us
awesome.
about this. What is this? Because I swear I know about sommeliers with wine and all of that, but this is like new to me and it's exciting. I want to know all about it. I know listeners do. And so please tell us about this program, because it seems that you're heavily involved in expanding this. And so it's making beer a little, woo woo,
It's kind of doing the opposite. Yeah. So the Cicerone program was really born out of frustration. The program's founder, a guy named Ray Daniels, who'd been involved in the beer industry for 30 years at that point, was tired of walking into bars and noticing a beer on tap that he hadn't had before and asking the bartender about it, and they couldn't tell him anything. And then when he'd say, okay, I'll go ahead and order it, he'd get it poured into a half dirty glass out of a dirty draft line. And his goal was like, all I want to do is give beer service the same respect as food service. If you walked into somewhere and the servers, you asked them a question about an item on the menu, and they said, I don't know, just go ahead and order it. And then you ordered your burger and you got a moldy tomato slice on top, and a stale bun, it'd be pretty unacceptable. And that's really how the program started. And from 2008 until now, it has become the international standard for better beer service. There are Cicerones all over the world, throughout the continents of Asia, South America, Europe, Australia, down into Africa as well. And I got lucky enough to kind of be an early adopter. I found out about the program in 2011 and took it's kind of structured like the sommelier program where there's multiple levels. And so the first level is an online test you can do at home. And then after that, you need to sit in person for a test. And at that point, it was a 4-hour exam, 3 hours of written, an hour of tasting.
Oh, we got tastings. That's important.
Yeah, well, it is. And it's,
of course.
It's not only good tastings about different beer styles, but also bad tastings. They'll spike some beers with different off flavors and ask you to figure out what's wrong with this beer, and how did it happen? So it's kind of an interesting exam. And I got lucky enough that they, I took that exam in 2011, passed, and was the first certified Cicerone in Western North Carolina. And then that fall, the program was growing pretty rapidly, and they sent out kind of a mass email to everybody who'd passed the exam asking, do any of you want to help us, proctor these exams and grade stuff and, help grow this program? And I thought, great, I get to travel to cool beer cities on somebody else's dime and get paid for it. Let's do that. And so I started in 2012. Yeah.
Well, I think it's so cool that you do tours and you have this educational component and then just elevating it so that really, because brewmasters put blood, sweat, and tears into it, just like a distiller does, just like a winemaker does. It's just it's a craft. And a lot of times it in someone's bathtub. As far as I know, half the brewers I know started in a bathtub, and then it graduates from the bathtub to the garage, and then it's like, dude, we really could do this. Let's do it. But it's in a big investment, and because you may really love your craft, but what happens from your craft on, that's when something else has to happen, and I think what you're doing, Cliff, is amazing because it elevates beer into people really having some a value for the craft itself, and the service industry.
There's so much that goes into it between the science and the art kind of coming together. And then also the history, a lot of beer styles that we enjoy today, some of them have been around for, a couple hundred years. And so to see your local brewery's interpretation, of something almost like, going to see your local symphony play some classical music, it's like it's their version of something that's been around and well known. And so introducing people to that on this local level is really great.
I have a weird question. It just came to me because you're talking about, when you think about how ancient beer is, and a lot of us drank beer in our ancient ancestral roots. Beer and weird whiskey and, that was cleaner than water, right? So it was very important. Wine as well. But Indian Pale Ale, the IPA, what Indian are we talking about? Like from where? Like who started that name?
It's not from an Indian. It's actually from the British, but it happened.
Not a motorcycle either.
Not a motorcycle, not an indigenous person in North America, not somebody from the country of India, none of those at all. But when the British were colonizing India, the beer came about during that time. And there's a lot of stories that are kind of half true about how that came to be. But the bottom line is that as the Brits were colonizing India, they were shipping beer around there to keep the troops happy. And, because otherwise they'd go off into the woods and drink some of the local fermented things, which were sometimes a little sketchy, and they come back blind or dead. So it was a good idea. Like, let's give you guys beer, and keep you alive. And so they were shipping beer around, and a lot of it, didn't show up tasting very good. And so some of the beers that did taste better were the ones that had a little bit more hop content. Hops are a natural preservative. And they became popular in India. They then became popular back in the UK because they had this India name attached to them, so it made them sound exotic. And the rest is history.
And some of it smells like pot, like it does. And I know some brewers that are playing around with pot and hops. Seriously. It's like a whole thing happening in California, Southern California. Yeah. Because I don't know what's happening. I haven't tasted it, should I say yet? But I don't know. Has that happened in Asheville at all? Oh, I don't think it's legal, is it? Or is it? I don't know. I don't know what's legal anywhere, what and where, but there is that smell that is almost like an IPA almost has this really skunky smell to it. Is that just the type of hops? Or
it is. Yeah. And there's so many different hop varietals that are used in brewing, and the flavors can range from citrus fruits and grapefruit to pine to, things like marijuana or even like cat pee, but in a good way.
Well, some of wine tastes like, smells like diesel,
like diesel or like tennis balls, all these weird descriptors that come up when somebody says them, you're like, oh yeah, totally does smell like that. But
it does. Right. It does. So do you smell the beer like we do with wine?
Definitely. Anytime you're consuming anything, your nose needs to be involved. Your taste buds only do what they showed you on that little picture in elementary school. They only do sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami. And everything else, it comes from your nose.
So on your tours, is it like this, but we get to drink beer and then actually be in the breweries and ask questions like this from you? Or, do you have other staff, or is it always you?
It is. We've got a great team. It's been really nice over the years, working in the beer community here in Asheville to engage with other people who kind of share this passion for entertaining and for sharing beer knowledge. So I've got a couple of great people that run tours as part of my team. Yeah.
That's very cool. So Steve, I think you need to be on the tour. I'm just saying.
You've been on the tour.
Yeah, no, I think
been on the tour.
He needs to be part of it. Like
we have.
Oh, it should be like the starting point. People check in, have a beer, and then off they go. That's how I think the tour should be for your
That should be it.
guests,
That's
right?
how I learned how to taste
I'll
beer.
just add it as an add-on for the ticket price. Would you also
Yeah.
like to add on a room?
Yeah, really.
There you go.
Come on.
Yeah.
I know.
It's a
It's
small
like,
upgrade.
yeah,
Souvenir
just
pint
a
glass,
little.
beautiful room.
Yeah, people are enjoying this, So this is so cool that you're doing this because I think it really elevates what Asheville has been doing as Beer City, USA, that
Mm-hmm.
people can go and have that education component. Because a lot of times we just enjoy drinking beer, you know what I mean? And we miss that part out,
Yeah, and that was how these tours started, is that there were a couple other tour companies in Asheville when I began back in 2013 that were both doing more like the party bus style. Where it was great, you get on the bus, they drive you around to breweries, they
Right.
get a bunch of beer, you get back on the bus and go to the next one, but there wasn't a lot of storytelling in between.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
I've been really fortunate that people are interested. They want to know kind of like the hows and whys, of our local
Mm-hmm.
breweries and of beer itself.
How many people do you think come, a percentage of guests, Karen, at the inn, at the Line and the Rose, like beer is part of their travel menu?
A good
What do you
half
think?
or more. The
Yeah.
majority want to at least explore a couple of breweries while they're here. Most do have a certain, type of beer that they're looking for, but some are willing to experiment, and that's what we try to encourage, saying there's a beer for everyone here.
Mm, that's true. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I went to a brewery up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and he got it into making, it was almost tasting like a cocktail, like a liquor through their beer making. Whatever they were doing, they were using grapefruits and cucumbers and things like that. And it was a completely different experience. And they also were making amazing old fashioned sodas, like cream soda and things like that. Do we
Mm.
have those kinds of experiences in Asheville for people? And for those who may want to have like, a root beer float versus alcohol?
Yeah. And so locally, we've got a great soda company called Devil's Foot. I don't know if we have any breweries that are doing both. There was a brewery years ago, a little further
Yeah.
west, that made their own root beer called Heinzelmanchen, and they also made German style beers, but they're no longer with us. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times you want to really keep that equipment separate. Soda making and beer making stuff, there's a lot of cross contamination possibilities, and they're kind of two
Oh,
separate entities, even though they both make delicious drinks.
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting.
But as far as
Okay.
flavors go, you can walk into any brewery on any given day and find the sort of creativity and flavor profiles that you were talking about. Brewers love to experiment, with different ingredients to just kind of create something new, whether it's based, a beer based off of one of their favorite cocktails, or based off of something that
Mm-hmm.
reminds them of the season, or whatever, for sure.
Yeah, pumpkin seasons now. I mean, then we start getting
Yeah.
into like fall flavors, right, in breweries right
Yeah,
now.
fall's a great time for drinking beer. It's a great time for walking around, being outside here in Asheville. Yeah, perfect.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I want to remind everybody, because our last episode we talked about the Heavy Mountain Music and Beer Festival. That's happening
Yep.
October 25th and 26th. So it's still this
Mhm.
month. I hear that they're getting low on tickets, but that
Yep.
doesn't mean you shouldn't try to apply. So
Mhm.
do it. I mean, it's, just keep going. And sometimes, people can't go at the last minute or whatever. So check that out,
Mhm.
because that's another cool way of experiencing it. And a lot of the breweries, as far as I know, man, they have all kinds of entertainment. Where did we go for the trivia night, Karen? Trivia night is Rock Bottom?
We did the Bold
Oh,
Rock
Bold
Cidery.
Rock.
Yeah.
Okay, the cidery.
Mhm.
Well, that's the other thing. Would you consider a cidery a brewery or not, Cliff?
I think it's kind of its own thing. Cider
Oh,
making is almost more like winemaking in a lot of ways, where they bring in fresh fruit and they ferment it, and then a long aging process and blending. It's got a lot more similarities really with winemaking. Yeah.
oh wow, I didn't think that. And yeah, maybe even a little bit of distilling in there. But then we do make fruit wines and mead. Mead's a different process too. It's
Yeah.
fat, and you do have mead in Asheville, I believe. I think you have a mead place
We
or a place
did.
that
I don't
has
know if
mead.
they're still around or if they recently closed. Heirloom
Hmm.
Meadery. They've had a couple different spots, and I know they kind of pulled back a little, and I'm not sure if they're still
Mhm.
around
Oh,
in some aspect or if they are taking a break.
mm. And yeah, I mean, you've got places, champagne and bookstores. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
this is so
yeah.
cool. I mean, so to me, yeah, there's rooftop cocktails, rooftop cocktail tours you can take. So if you like to
Yeah.
libation yourself, this is a city for you. And there's trolleys you
Mm.
can take around, and there's definitely Ubers and everything too, so you don't have to drive. And that is the
Right.
other question I do want to get into before we go, fall and just go into favorite fall experiences in Asheville, food, beer, all of that good stuff. But Cliff, with your tours at Brew Ed, how does that work in regards to transportation? Are they walking tours? Like everybody meets you in a specific place, like you were mentioning that, but so are they all walking tours because of the downtown? How does that work?
Exactly. The great thing about downtown Asheville is that there are over a dozen breweries just in the downtown area.
Mm-hmm.
And so way back in 2013, when we were starting out, I wasn't sure the tours would be a great idea. I wasn't sure people would want to have that more, informational aspect. And so I thought, well, I'll start with a walking tour and then maybe, I'll get a van the next year if it goes well.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need for a van. All of the breweries are a short walk from
Right.
one another. And because of that, we get to talk a little bit about Asheville along the way. We incorporate a little Asheville history into each tour.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have that time. You're not just loading into a van and driving from traffic light to traffic light. You get to experience a little bit more of the city.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I
Mm-hmm.
like that. I think walking tours, and you need to walk off your beer, man.
That too,
So,
Mhm.
it gives
That's
everybody
it.
a little
yeah.
time to kind of reset, before they get to the next
Mm-hmm.
one.
Are you
Yeah,
getting samples
Yeah.
of the beer when you go in, or can you order a full
definitely.
beer at some point?
So
Yeah.
we'll share 10 different beers throughout the 3-hour tour. So a mix of different flavors, different styles at each of the 3 breweries. So you end up walking away with a fair amount of beer in you. Our goal is
Mm-hmm.
not to destroy you
Yeah.
so you can't go to dinner, but we
Yeah.
definitely don't be thirsty either.
But walking is good. I mean, you gotta, sweat it off.
Yeah. And then
Get it,
Asheville,
Exactly.
some of these walks, like the longest walk between our breweries on our regular public tour is 3 minutes. That's
Oh,
how close these breweries are.
no, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to do the tour. This is cool. And there's so many
Sure.
different ways to experience beer in
Mhm.
Asheville. I mean, what was the one gentleman you had on the show who you can go by like raft down the river, the French Broad, and stop
Yeah.
Oh,
at
yeah.
breweries. You got walking tours. I
Mhm.
mean, this is so cool. And you
Mhm.
get to actually see more, do more than tasting, right? Do some of the breweries let you go and see how everything is done, like
Yes,
how
we
they're
definitely go
brewing?
back kind of behind the scenes into the production areas, and get to see the tools and the ingredients that brewers use. And you can smell fresh hops and munch on some malted barley and see how these things turn into your favorite beers.
Mm, this is fun. This is
Cool.
fun. Okay.
Mhm.
Favorite fall activities, y'all. So I know Steve is taking little Lita, little puppy outside. I know that. I heard him. You took her off there, but let's start with you, Cliff. If you have a perfect fall day and evening in Asheville, what would you do?
Oh, that's a great one. I mean, there's so many options. I've got 2 kids who are getting a little older now, but we still
Cool.
make them do some of the fun family stuff.
Cool.
We
Mhm.
always look forward to like the Elida Home Corn Maze. It's a local nonprofit
Really?
home for children here in town. They do this huge
Yeah,
corn
that sounds fun.
here. And it's always great to go kind of wander around and get lost in that. And they have all their activities set up as well, all kind of corn based. You can shoot corn cobs at out of this air gun at
Oh,
a stick man off in the distance, and we've got
cool.
cider and hay rides and all kinds of stuff. So that's always fun. Just kind of cruising around, go up on the parkway and watch, see the leaves turning, get some of those mountain views. And then, sitting outside, Asheville, the
Mhm.
summers aren't terrible, but by the end of August, you're ready for a break. And October gives you that. You can sit out on a patio somewhere
Yeah.
and have a great beer and enjoy a little crispness in the air. Definitely.
Mm.
Mhm.
Man, that is nice. And Halloween is
Yeah.
coming, and everyone, there's the
Mhm.
haunted mysteries and history and mystery, on the Gray Line, right, Karen? Am I getting that right? At the Gray
Yep.
Line tours?
Yep.
Everyone, you've got to do that. You've got to do that. It's a great way to get your
That's fun.
bearings of Asheville
Mhm.
too. And
Yeah.
they take you through downtown and some of the outskirts, and I was just talking about Zelda Fitzgerald in another show because we were talking about insane asylums. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, well, did you know you can smell burned hair out there
Yeah.
once in a while? Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
Halloween in October can get like super cool in Asheville. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's actually one of the most perfect months that you have in the
Yeah.
city. I think it is. It is just
Mm-hmm. I think
perfect
so.
weather. So what is your
Mm-hmm.
favorite fall day? Are you going on the Parkway? I just can't imagine you not saying the Parkway. But what is your
Well,
like favorite fall day?
I would say either going on the Parkway for a hike or going somewhere not on the Parkway for a hike to do a little bit of just the outdoors, like you said, enjoying the weather, the scenery, taking pictures, of course, of pretty things we find, and then ending at a brewery to have a beer afterwards. So, to me, that's a perfect fall day.
I think that's one of your perfect days, no matter what season. I have to say that.
It's true.
And
True.
Steve is back just in time to answer the question. Welcome back. Welcome back, Cotter. No, I'm just kidding. But now I'm going to have that stuck in my head for the rest of the night. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. And I'll get sued for doing that.
Mr.
I know. Up your nose with a rubber hose. We're talking about beer. We can talk about rubber hoses. Steve, if you're going to take a perfect fall day, Karen said she's going on the Blue Ridge Parkway with you, or even off the Parkway, but going on a hike and a beer after at one of the breweries. What are you doing?
That sounds pretty good. I think I'm going to go with her.
Oh, because you guys are so
that's a hard twist of the arm.
I know. Every time we're
You
there,
can't beat the Parkway in fall.
Yeah, no, you guys, every time we're there, like, hey, you want to go on the Parkway? We'll just go see what we can find. This is this year. We could do this butterfly. You'll get this kind of flower. You'll get this.
Well, maybe head down to Haywood Smokehouse for some barbecue first, and then go get some beer.
Oh, Haywood Smokehouse.
Yeah,
now, was that where we came out that last time? There was a Haywood, and I think it was closed, and you guys wanted to go. I think we were on a
that may have been.
Yeah, weird hours.
So is barbecue a big thing in Asheville or not? Because I know Durham and Raleigh, that's a big deal. But is barbecue big in Asheville?
It's getting bigger.
It's not as big as the rest of the state. Yeah.
I feel like we've had a few places pop up just in the past few years, whereas before people were like, oh, Carolina barbecue, and we had like 2 barbecue restaurants. You're like, well,
exactly.
And now there are a lot more.
Well, we lost Buxton Hall, which sucks.
We did. Yeah.
I know.
Yep.
I know. That was sad.
They had the good Eastern style.
Yeah.
Well,
so there you go. Cool. Let's get Cliff to tell us what pairs well with what we say barbecue. We consider pulled pork. What would you say the best beer would be?
Oh, yeah. Ooh. So you've got a couple ways you can go with that. If you want to enhance those kind of sweet, roasty flavors, the smoky flavors of the pulled pork, go with a porter.
Mm-hmm.
A nice dark beer that's got this kind of chocolatey, caramelly coffee notes to it is really going to pair really well with that kind of char and sweetness of the meat. Yeah.
Okay.
The other way, if you want to kind of cut the fat, out of that, you could go with something lighter with some hop content, even just a great, American pale ale, grab a beer from Sierra Nevada, a little bit of that bitterness is going to cut through some of the fat in the meat instead. So that's the thing about beer and food is that it's like, what am I trying to bring out? What do I want to, dial something back in the food, or I want to enhance the flavor and then play around with it. Have fun. There's no hard
cook with it. Cook with. I used to make beer bread as a kid. That was the way I could open a beer and have a sip. And that's how I started drinking beers. I would go, I'm making beer bread, Mom.
The only thing about cooking with beer these days is that everybody's drinking so many IPAs. And if you think about it, the bitterness in your beer, as you cook it and the water goes away, is only going to get enhanced. So you got to be careful. If your beer is too bitter to begin with, that's not one you necessarily want to be cooking with.
Oh, see, we did lagers. That was in South Africa when I was a kid. And kid, we had Castle Lager was the main thing, and then I think Tusker was Kenya actually. Castle Lager and Black Label was a big beer in South Africa, and I don't know if they do it now. England too. I don't know if they have it in this country. Once in a blue moon, I've seen like a Black Label. I'm like, dude, no way. But like it was just mostly in Amstel and that kind of thing was like the lager, more German European kind of style, not heavy. And but then look at the IPAs, right? So that's blows my mind. Now I'm like totally like, what? I didn't know that. But so that you guys have to go on this tour. Like you could be like me, like, no way. The British did this.
That's always the best part of like, whoa, I had no idea, seeing that reaction sometimes because beer's been with us, as humans for a long time and our histories are intertwined.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
Cool.
So pumpkin pie and beer, because we're getting into fall. Pumpkin pie and beer. Let's think. And I would do an Indian Pale Ale, except for which are you going to, because the IPA can fill you up pretty quick, right? So who's going to win, the pumpkin pie or the IPA? The IPA is going to win with me. But what would you say like a good, like some are spicy. Wouldn't that be a good pairing or no?
I don't know. That's a good question. My fear with that is sometimes like things clash in weird ways, and especially pie, for me, it's always the variable of what's the clove flavor like. I don't know why that's the first thing that comes to mind, but I feel like cloves and like bitter beers somehow can come across like really medicinal. And so there could be some great IPA and pumpkin pie pairings, but I would probably still kind of go maybe towards like a brown ale, or like something along those lines, or like an English mild, something that's going to be kind of dancing around like the caramelly flavor realm, rather than worrying about maybe having something that's going to come in conflict with those great spices in the pie.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now I just want to do a whole show on different kinds of beers. I need to stop now. And now I want carrot cake.
We need
beer.
to do it. Yeah.
Let's do a whole show
That
on
would be a
beer
good one.
and the types of beer, because we don't know all these types, right? It's like, people always go, okay, Ireland, always going to be Guinness. Well, Ireland's going to make more than Guinness, right?
Right.
There's more out there. There is a feast of beer to be drunk and savored, So we should do a whole show on pairings. I'm in. But can we do it as an actual tasting? We need to do it as a tasting. I don't want to just sit and talk about it.
Through the microphones to each other.
Yeah, right. No, just pour it. We'll do it. No, we'll do something special for sure, But everyone, happy fall, y'all. It is October. It is Sausage Day, and every day is Sausage Day at the Lion and the Rose, right? Is it Sausage Day? Well, not every day.
About every other day.
Yeah.
Every other day. Usually Sunday for sure, though.
And with beer mimosas. Oh, we can't forget the beer mimosa. Beer mimosa. Okay, Nancy, I really, how many times we've been at the inn, and it took us 2 years, I think, to finally go, okay, we want the beer mimosa. And then we went, we're so stupid to have not had the beer mimosa. What is wrong with us? It's got beer in it. What is wrong with us? But the beer mimosa is orange juice and one of Steve's beers. But you normally do like the wheat beer, right, for that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
That one goes really well with the orange juice.
That one just combines well. Yeah, it's a good combination.
It's a good Sunday brunch drink. And I watched ladies who thought they wouldn't drink it at the table.
Oh,
I don't know if I want beer in my, my orange juice. And next thing you know, they sucked that down. And then I was like, well, then they're like, can we have more? And I'm like, I don't know. You have to ask Steve.
That happens quite often, actually.
Yeah, it is so cool. Well, thank you all for joining us, everyone. Again, thank you, Cliff. I want everyone to know your website. Oh, you've got to come back on, man. It's so much fun. brew-ed.com is the website to go to. And for fall, and he's got gift certificates on his website, since we're getting towards that
holidays
gift giving. They're coming. So
there you go.
This is a great way to give a gift of beer and Brew Ed, right?
And it's always the right size.
Yeah. Now, Steve and Karen, you guys have gift certificates for the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, right?
We do.
Yay. I was like, there was that quiet there for a second. I was like, no,
we do. Perfect combination right there. You need to get one of ours today and get one of Cliff's. Yep. We can already plan for you. Nice and easy.
See, that's it. That's the perfect. Yeah. Everybody listening, Nancy and I, we're voting for this. Okay. Just saying. So everyone, lion-rose.com is the website to go to. Thank you all for joining us here on Big Blend Radio. Keep up with us. BigBlendRadio.com. All the episode links that we're talking about, including Sausage Day, in the episode notes. So check it out. We've got a lot of sausage content for you to devour. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Adventures in Asheville show. Learn more about the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, which is located in the historic Montford district of Asheville, North Carolina. Go to lion-rose.com. You can keep up with our Big Blend Radio shows at bigblendradio.com.